When they had the reunion,
Huh?
They played.
Yeah.
And they'd go down there and have
Yeah,
ball games.
Yeah, that's a ball ground, that Mobile.
Watch there, Frank Kelly's garden.
Yeah. Right in front of Nolan Turner's. Right out in front of his, where those two buildings are.
All those trees on
Used to be a cemetery way back in center field. I've seen Sid knock that ball over that cemetery. The cemetery. Man,
He was a pretty good baseball player.
man, he was plenty good.
I remember we were down at the ball game one day, and I don't remember how I was feeling, but anyway, Lily Roswell was down there, and she couldn't see plain, instead of asking me to move over, she said, we can't see through muddy water. Oh,
Hey.
Well, I'll ask you one more question. Was Mole Hill Church, was it an old building when you were growing up? Was it?
Oh, yeah, it was an old building when I was growing up.
Well, what did it look like?
It was just a plain, it was about 40 by 50, something like that, maybe. Just a plain square, well, it wasn't square, it was a plain building.
Yeah. Well, do you remember Charlie Alton?
No?
I don't know if you did or not. He was kind of crazy.
Oh. Was it Charlie? I know that. No, I didn't know that.
You don't know who his parents were?
He was way back then. But now you know a lot about the gold mines, don't you?
Which one?
Well, what about Mole Hill?
Well, the old Primm place, this old gold mine shaft of holes over there. They still over there, I guess. Ain't nobody built back in then, filled them up. But I don't remember. I don't remember anything about them. Only you seeing them. That's just where they've been dug out. But I've heard Mama talking about them all. Over there, I reckon after a big rain, they'd go out in the yard and they'd pick up enough of gold, this little specks of gold, to make them all a ring just on top of the ground. And I've heard them talking about it way back, Grandpa Primm.
What was his name?
Let me see, there was one Joe Primm, wasn't it? But, yeah. And I don't know whether that was the one or not, or his daddy. Way back there anyway. He'd found a rock over there. And it was picked it up, he was moving it, and it was so heavy. He noticed it being unusually heavy. So he took it to the house and used it for a doorstop to hold the door back. And he kept it for, I don't know how long, a long time. And there was an old fella coming around prospecting. Was looking around over there where the gold, I think the gold mine was already there. Had been mined before that. And he come out there to look, And he asked his Primm, or whatever his name was, the grandpa, or I don't know whether there's any grandpa or not. Mama's great-granddad, I reckon. And asked him about this rock. He saw it laying there. When in the first place he asked him to stay all night, spend the night with him. So they kept him overnight, and he noticed that rock against the door. He picked it up and was examining it. He asked him where he got it. And he told him. And he told him, said, man, said, this is gold. There ain't no very much rock to this. Said, this is gold. Well, he said he didn't know what it was, and it was awful heavy. Well, he went and made some kind of deal with him, said, how about letting me take this back up north, where he come from, to a gold, some gold outfit, mining outfit. He was just kind of scouting, I reckon, to see what he could find down here for that company. He said, we'll bring this, the gold stamp mills and everything down here for see what it pays. And said, we'll start a mine down here, gold mine. Said, you'll get a big profit out of it. Said, I'll bring this back. Said, you can have this back. I want to just take it up there and show him. He let him take it. That was the last of it. Hard to tell him how many $100 worth that, I mean, $100 that was worth. But didn't see no more of it.
Were they doing any mining when you were growing up?
No, they wasn't doing nothing over here in Caps Mine until later on. Now they did later on. Now I remember that. I've been over there while they mining that. I know I went down in one of the shafts, and it was kind of an incline. I went down I reckon about 500 or 600 feet. I got about halfway down in there. And man, I see the bottom of it, the step where the stairway went down in there. It just looked like it wasn't no bigger than a baseball. So deep. And I got scared. I said, I ain't got no business in here. So I turned around and come back out. And they had to quit mining over here on account of water. Couldn't keep the water out of it. Couldn't pump it out fast enough. I was over there, they had a pump running at one of those mine shafts over there. Oh, heck, that was a pipe like a 10-inch. It was about a 10-inch pipe, right? 10 or 12-inch pipe. And that water was coming out of there full force out of that thing. We couldn't get the water down an inch. It's coming in the mine fast and they could pump it out.
That made them, they had to quit.
Yeah, they had to quit on account of water.
Well, what other mine holes and stuff were out there, out that way, this way too, I guess? I know there was one there where the Stafford lived. There was several behind there. You know of any others?
Let me see, whereabouts is that? Where does he live?
Right, really right beside Grandpa Stafford. Right beside the creek.
I don't know.
In between the creek and Mount Holly Terminal,
I don't know. There's Chapman mines down here on Pleasant Grove Road. That's over there right beside of where we used to live down there. Of course, they had a stamp mill there, but there wasn't no deep shafts, mine shafts. I know where's I've seen of, not unless they'd been filled up. Mr. Charlie Johnson and some other guy, they dug one, was prospecting. They dug one shaft down there. It was about 50 foot deep or something like that. But they didn't, I don't think, found anything.
Well, that goes back a long way. Way back.
Mr. Charlie Johnson, he used to pick up every rock, old rocks all over where he could find, look whether they looked like there was any ore or anything in them. He had his back porch piled up with rock, where he picked up different places, you know. And he got some gold. He'd bust them rocks open, bust them up, get that gold out of there? I don't know. They say he got right smart gold. Then there was one on the other side of there was a mine right on the other side of Long Creek on 16. You know, right above the drag strip, where you turn off to go down into the drag strip. There was gold mines there. Me like that was called Primm's Grove.
Mobile.
Yeah, the church before that was they changed it to Mole Hill.
Primm's Grove?
Primm's Grove, I believe is what they called it.
Well, it was more or less replaced by Pleasant Grove, wasn't it? Pleasant Grove kind of did anything.
Well, yeah, but it was. I don't know. But Pleasant Grove, I guess. Of course, it come after. It was before Mole Hill was. I don't know how come to build that church there at Mole Hill. I don't know what denomination it was. I don't know. I reckon it's Methodist, so I don't know. But I imagine that Brush Arbor was long before Mole Hill was.
You would think so?
Yeah, I think so.
Do you know anything about Loing Chapel? Which later became Cooks, you know.
Cooks. No, I never did know anything about that. Now, I don't know what they call that. It might have been. That may have been the name of that before they changed it to Cooks.
It was.
Now, Cooks was named after a preacher. They had one of their pastors. Preacher Cook, I remember him. Now, their church down there was down on 16. And it was just exactly like our old church up there. Built just like it.
Yeah, I've seen a picture of it. It's just the same.
Yeah. No. Sure. That was up on Mount Holly Huntersville Road. Well, that was down here on 16, where the old church was. Yeah. Now, you know where you go around the curve after you cross Long Creek up there, where those colored people live? That's where the church was. That's on the right-hand side. Now, we lived down at Shuffle. Cold in. Well, now we went to church down there then.
Down to Cooks?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, how did Shuffletown, you know how Shuffletown got its name?
Never did know. That's been Shuffletown as long as I can remember. I remember that way back on Shuffletown. I remember when I don't know how old was I remember when I was wearing dresses.
Yeah.
Still wearing dresses. Well, we lived right down below where the fish pond is. Down Shuffle, you know, the crossroads. Right below the fish pond. Yeah. No, on 16. It was on 16 down below Roselle's fish ponds there, you know, where. And we lived on this other side up here on Mount Holly and Huntersville Road, right up back where it used to be the store there in the corner. You know where the radio shop was back of that up on it was on Mount Holly and Huntersville Road. We lived there one time. That was back when Shuffletown was blooming back then. Man, they had the store on each corner. 2 stores there. Uncle Eddie Spurry, he had a cotton gin, sawmill, and he lived in one corner of the building. I mean, one corner of the road, Mount Holly and Huntersville Road and 16. wasn't 16 then, but that was the location. And the blacksmith shop was right on the back of the store there on the corner on the left hand going up Mount Horace Hunterville Road.
Well, looked like it was going to be a pretty good sized town.
Oh yeah, it was. Uncle Ed Spur had he was big. That was a big store in that corner, and he had a big barn right beside of the store, a little further down than the store was, a little piece from the store. But the barnyard part, he'd come up for right close to the store. There's buildings all around that man. That shuffle was the same as a town then.
Well, how much do you remember of your daddy?
Oh, I don't remember very much about him. I remember when he was sick. That's about all. I know that I got up in the bed with him. Had him propped up chair back and propped up on the chair, and had the chair in the bed, and he was leaning back in it. I got up in bed with him when he was sick. And I remember going after he died when he was going to the funeral. That's all much that I can remember.
Well, what did he die of?
The dog, I know what. I believe it was a fever or something like that fever.
Typhoid?
Typhoid fever or something. I don't remember exactly what it was, but Mama said she always thought that one cause of it, he got hit with a baseball one time. He was at a baseball game, and they knocked the foul, or the ball, and knocked it anyway, and hit him in the stomach. He said his stomach never was right after that.
Well, he was kind of y'all were kind of sharecroppers back then, weren't you?
Yeah.
And y'all just moved from one place to
One
another?
place to another.
Well, where did he die at?
Caldwell, pretty close to Caldwell Station. That's out from Cornelius up in the back on the side of Cornelius in that. Yeah.
Do you remember Dr. Caldwell?
No, I don't remember ever seeing him.
You remember that black woman he had?
I've heard Mama and talk about it.
Susan?
I believe it was. I don't remember now.
Well, didn't he have some children by her?
Yeah. I've heard of, one of them was named Reb. And something else just had 2 or 3. She was his cook, housekeeper.
Yeah. Well, y'all were sharecropping for Dr. Caldwell then at the time when your father died.
Yeah.
Where'd y'all move to after he died?
Come back down here. Oh, let me see. We moved to Shuffle.
Y'all lived up here on Oakdale at the time too, didn't you?
Yeah, we lived down there where.
Nick lived for so long.
Oh, we lived at Uncle Lawrence's place. We lived on his place a long time. Then we lived down there, you know where old Mitch used to live?
Yeah.
We lived there one time.
Well,
And we lived on Mr. Taylor's place. We worked the crop. Now Mr. Billy Taylor's place. We lived there, I don't know how many years we lived there. Then we moved from there down here on at Pleasant Grove back down in, I don't know whether you was ever down there where Fred Eastep used to live. Like going down to the old Hutchison place, you turn off and go down in front of the scout cabin, go down and then turn to the left back down in there.
Well, when did you go to Berrien Springs?
That's when I was about 8 years old.
How long did you stay there?
I just stayed there 2 years.
How long did Grandpa stay there?
Yeah, he didn't. I don't believe he stayed that long.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I reckon he did. He's yeah, he was there.
Well, what was your mama doing at the time y'all were up there? She was just having to find work where she could find it.
No, she was. They moved to town then. She was working sewing house. Her and Zelva and Hattie.
Yeah.
Meantime, Hattie was at Primm's too, but she come home and she was working with Mama and Zelva at the sewing house in Charlotte.
Well, did y'all all go up there at the same time? Did you come home at different times?
We was there wasn't anyone up there but Belle when I went. Zelva didn't come home. She kind of see it and had it. She was the only one up there when I went. Because all of us was up there at the time. But then we come home once a year on a vacation every August.
Well, what do you remember about your grandma Nixon?
I can't remember. Just can't remember her.
Well, your grandpa Nixon been dead a long
I
time.
never did. Yeah, I never did know anything about him.
You don't know his name?
Uh-uh.
What about your grandma Alton? Harriet Primm Alton.
Yeah, know all about her. Gee,
She was the one who had the.
she used to have the biggest reunion in this country. And everybody in the whole country around here looked forward to that. Everybody went almost. They called her Aunt Harriet.
Harriet.
Yeah. That's when they lived up at the old place. There's you know where Lewis lived? Well, that's the old Alton place up there. So it's not the same building. That's where they had the reunions, up there.
On Sunset Road.
Yeah. And but they had some reunions after Uncle Aunt's built down there on Sunset. But they didn't have no reunions down there like they had up there at the old place. Because it began to kind of fade out. That's Grandma died down there, and after she died, well, they still had the reunions, but it wasn't nothing like it was before she died. Of course, Van Peltz and all from Creamerton, they all come over there. There was a whole bunch of them, and Aunt Alice from Gaston, her family, Aunt Ida Hawkins and her family. Or there's then all the neighbors and everything around with it.
Well, what kind of man was Uncle Lawrence? Was he kind of on the serious side?
Well, I don't know. Kind of hard to describe. Hey, wouldn't do say too much about. Well, I tell you, Uncle Lawrence was good. He was a good man. Right? He was a church man.
He was kind of his own man, though, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He didn't really care what too many other people thought, did he?
Yeah.
Well, what about your mama? What kind of person was she? What kind?
Well, I I can't see nothing. Only she was just a good woman. There was no doubt about that, man.
She was always good to y'all.
Yes, sir. But I don't know what we'd done if it hadn't been for her. She had a hard time. Got to take. Papa died when we was all young. There's 5 of us. And we're renting on, living on rented land too. You might know what kind of time she had trying to make a way for all of us. That's one reason we had to go to Barham Springs. Of course, there wasn't no way she could make it. Right.
Well, she didn't want y'all to go, I bet. Did
No. Oh, sir.
No, I didn't think she did. What else could be done?
'Cause we wouldn't have had winter if there'd been any other way she could have managed. But back then there wasn't no public works and nothing. The world wasn't big enough for it.
Well, there wasn't any kind of relief, was there?
No, sir. There wasn't no such thing as that back then.
Well, were you happy when she decided to marry Mr. Whitlow?
Well, it didn't bother me much.
Yeah.
I was very satisfied with it.
It was good to her, wasn't it?
Yeah. Of course, I wasn't at home then, though. I was working in the mountains then. It was a lumber camp, I believe. Part of the time, now not all the time.
How old was she when she married him? She was in her 50s or 60s.
Yeah. I don't know. Yes, she was up in her 50s. Close to 60s, I guess.
Okay, now that I got both of you on here, tell me about the flood of 1916.
Is that on the tape that
Mm-hmm.
she brought down here? She brought a tape to put it on.
Oh, well.
Okay.
Well, you lived on the river, didn't you?
Right on the river. Right on the river.
In Mount Holly.
Mountain Island.
Mountain Island, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and your house got washed away, didn't it?
Right.
Well, what happened during from what I hear, that the river was just full of everything.
Right. It started raining. It rained 3 or 4 days, just a slow rain. And the dam up above bursted. And when it bursted, why, that let all that water loose on Mountain Island, you know. But when the water started rising, why, my daddy would watch it. He went out down to the back because we had hogs back there in the pen, and we had a cow and calf and chickens and all. And when the water started rising, why, he would go down there and stick a stick up. And he had a certain length of time that he'd wait, and he'd go back and check it to see how much the water had come up. And whenever he decided that it was getting too high, that he better go out to the front, because there was a low place out at the front. It was called the holler where we lived, down in the holler. And there was rows of houses that up on top of the hill, and then there was another valley through there, and there was another hill over on the other side where you go to now to go down into the dam. And So this low place that run through down there where we live, that's where the mill company used to have their big picnics down in there. And because it was shady, and it was a pretty place down through there, so he decided he'd go out to the front and check and see if there was any, how high the water had got, or if it was coming up that way, because there was what they called a spring drain that run from a big spring at the foot of the hill out there in front of us, and that ran on down into the river, you see. So when he went out to check out there, and that was on Sunday morning about 4 o'clock, and he had watched that water since Friday, checked it all day Saturday and all, and then Sunday morning about 4 o'clock when he checked it out at the front. So he came in and he told Mama that she better get us a change of clothes and packed in the suitcase, that we were going to have to wade water then to get out. So we did. And I remember May was just 2 years old, and I was almost 8. The last of that month I would have been 8. But Mama led me, and Papa carried me, and Mama carried the suitcase, and her and my brother, you know. We all had to wade out, and the water was up around, it was way up above my knees. And so we had to wade water to get out that morning. And Mama had a cousin that lived up on the hill up there. So they had told us if we had to get out, why to come to their house. So we went up there and stayed up there. And then Mama, Papa, he on Saturday though, he moved. Somebody up there had an empty hog pen on the hill way up from where we lived, and he had to move the hogs out up there, and he took the cow and calf out and tied them up on the hill. And but the chickens, they just scattered everywhere, you know. They were just scared, and they just scattered everywhere. And some of them said when the house went down Sunday morning about 8 o'clock, said there was chickens standing up on the chimney. And so whenever the meal fell in, it fell in Sunday night. And we just stayed down on the river down there all day Sunday. And we had just gone home when, of course, this was, was Sunday morning about 8 o'clock when our house went down. And I remember it just as good as if it was last week. But Mom and Papa, they still stayed down there. And there was a 2-story store, company store up there. And they carried clothing and everything like that upstairs, and downstairs was a grocery part. It was a big store. And when it fell in, why, all the stuff in the store floated down the water. And even as to boxes of stick candy was floating along the edge of the water, dashing up like that, and the little kids was running down there getting the stick candy. And back then, you know, we had when we bought lard at the store, it was they'd take a paddle, like, you know, and dip it out of a big
Tub.
tub, yeah, lard tub, and there was whole tubs of lard floating down, and just everything in cases, you know, and then the mill fell in. And when that mill went in, that really upset everybody. People were just screaming and hollering because that was their business, you see, and that's the only place that they had to work. And that was a 5-story building. And I mean, it was a big building. And they had a big bell that they would ring, you know. And when the mill went down, fell in, why, somebody was down there, you know, and they heard the bell when it went under, said it tolled when it went under. And, you know, they wrote a song about that flood. I used to know it, but I've forgotten it now.
Well, nobody was really that upset until the mill.
Well, they were, but they just wasn't making, you know, no noise or anything about it. People were talking, of course, but when the warehouse fell in, see, they had big bales of cotton stored in it. And there were so many bales of cotton on that water that there was men that went out walking on it. Some of them said that there was enough that they could have walked all the way across that river on bales of cotton.
That'd been swift.
Yeah.
Man, they couldn't have known. I had bales of water there, and I mean, that bales of cotton. It was kind of out toward the bank. It went down the way. It wasn't in the main stream of the river because it was swift. But man, that thing took bridges and all when it went. There wasn't a bridge left on the top of the river. They run box cars, loaded box cars out on the trestle down at Mount Holly. Try to keep it more so it wouldn't wash away. Box cars and all went.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Well, it washed all y'all. It washed all the bridges out of Mountain Island too. Didn't it?
Yeah, it washed everything out.
Everything on the river.
And on a Saturday, they took boats and went in there and tried to bring out some furniture and some stuff that the people had in there, but didn't anybody have any idea that it was going to get as high as it did, because it never had gotten up that high before. Of course, it was always getting up. I've heard my daddy talk about the water, you know, was rising, and he was afraid it was going to get into his pig pen out there, and all. So,
He didn't know it was going to wash it.
No, and I remember just as good. I had what they call, I reckon, these little summer sores on my feet. And I had Mom and them had just got me a new pair of patent leather slippers. And I was so proud of those things, and we had upstairs in our house. And so I wanted to take my slippers out. Mama said, no, just leave them sitting up on the steps. And of course, there was the door, you know, that closed. It closed the steps off. And she said, just leave your slippers sitting up on the steps where the water won't get through them. And said, we'll be coming back. So, took my shoes and all.
That's why they didn't make any effort to get the furniture out?
Well, they got a few things. They got an old dresser that belonged to my daddy's mama. and her sewing machine, and some feather beds, I think. Back then they used feather beds. And some pillars, I believe. And they brought out several old dresser drawers, but they didn't bring the dresser. I don't know why they brought them unless it was they thought there would be something in them, you know, that Mama would want to keep. But anyway, there wasn't very much that they got out. But
How long did it take the river to go down?
I don't remember now. But I know when it did get dry enough for people to go in there. Of course, there was some, I guess, that didn't wait too long because they wanted to get out there and see what they could find. But when the store fell in, you see, they had both of cloth and that just went down and just covered over with sand. And I remember us going down there and digging out, pulling out bolts of cloth. And boy, you could just see people that had got that cloth and had took it home and washed it, and they had clotheslines strung everywhere with all that material hanging out to dry, you know. But that was one more time.
They found that bell later on, yeah, the mill bell. And they have a picnic they did have a picnic every year at what's called Flat Rock on Mountain Island. And they took the bell up there and hung it up on the picnic ground up there. One year, everybody go by to ring it.
I don't know where that bell is now. Didn't they take it to one of the mills?
Some mill companies got
Mount Holly.
it. Yeah.
I think got the bell. But I remember when my daddy used to work up there, and Harold, my brother, you know, he worked up there. And back then, they didn't have to be 16 years old to work. And I know Harold was working. And I remember going up there, taking their meal to them, their lunch, you know, and going in. My daddy was over the dye house down there. He mixed all the dyes that dyed all that yarn that was made there. And I remember going up there and he'd take me around and show me what all he did, you know, and all about it. I can remember all that stuff just as good as anything.
Well, what did y'all do after it was over? Y'all didn't have a house.
My daddy went to McCannville and got a job over there. And we moved over there. And I don't remember how long we stayed, what it was. 1 or 2 years that we stayed over there. And then he got a job at Mount Holly, and we moved back. But see, in the meantime, the people that lived up on the hill up there, they found places somewhere else, and they moved off. So there was empty houses up there, and when Papa moved back, went to work at Mount Holly while we moved up there on the hill and got a house up there.
Well, how long did it take the mill to get back in?
They never did.
Oh, it didn't?
No, wasn't no mill there.
Dam's there now.
The big dam's down there now. No, but after the water all went down where our house stood, there was a big bunch of shrubbery that fit right in the corner of our yard. You wouldn't believe that that bunch of shrubbery was still there.
House wasn't with the truck?
The shrubbery was right there. It sure was.
Place away over Mill Foundation Park. They had to clear that away to build the dam in a place where the mill was.